call the December board meeting to order. Let us stand for the pledge, please. Pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
may be seated. We'll get ready now, open the floor up to the public input session. This is for anything that's not on the agenda. And you have 3 minutes to say whatever you have to say. At the end of 2 minutes, I'll hold this sign up letting you know you have 1 minute left. So if you got a lot to say, get right to the point and tell us. All right, at this particular time, the floor is now open for public input.
Charlie Costello, District 2, President of Friends of Lancaster County. I'd like to know, you had 3 supervisors there at the meeting on the 10th? Was that an official meeting?
You want to take that? Jim?
I'm sorry.
I'm just kidding. No, I am serious about some of the things. You're going to talk about a strategic plan. It hasn't any public hearing that I know of, but it probably should before you accept it again, because the public, they've heard some meetings with John making things and so on, but it really hasn't been out there for the people to take and look at in this thing, and you might consider that. The other thing, we have public hearings coming. Public hearing for the Planning Commission. We're going in the Waterfront Overlay District on the next thing. At least it was scheduled for that. I don't know if it still is. All that documentation ought to be on our websites or your websites so people know all the options that are. It's going to address one option, as far as I know, option 3. But other people should know all of it and have it available now so they can read it and know it. The same thing for Mary Point Solar. That's coming up, I understand, the end of January 30th. There will be 4 public hearings. That's a lot of data, a lot of things that you all have been working on for a long time. And to ask the public to come and comment on it, because of getting a notice just a couple weeks ahead and then try to dig it out, is really unfair. Your bylaws say that it should be out there and clear for people to know and be knowledgeable. It needs to be websites, it needs to be out where people can see it and can raise questions now, not the other thing when they sit there and say, well, you already decided everything, what do we have to talk about? They need to be informed. Yes, I have 1 minute left. Thank you, Ernest, I appreciate it. Now, it's in your hands. Please, help the people understand and be knowledgeable about what they're being asked to do as a citizen. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Good evening, and thank you for letting me speak with y'all, and thank you, Chairman. My question fits with Mr. Costello's. I'm trying to understand why the county would reduce its setbacks and lot sizes in the waterfront overlay areas that protect the tributaries in the Chesapeake Bay. For the past 4 decades, significant energy and resources have been spent to restore the water quality and living resources of the bay through a watershed implementation plan that's the guide for planning and development. Our comprehensive plan states that there are 30,038 acres available for development without any environmental limitations. The minimum lot size in the recommendation from the Planning Commission would change the lot sizes from 2 acres to a ½ acre, which means an increase in pollution from 1 house to 4 houses on each of those 2 acres. The watershed overlay in the area within 800 feet of the tributaries would be reduced to 100 acres. That's why it's been important to maintain those current setbacks. I was recently told that reducing the setbacks would not create more lots by right for developments like King's Grant. But what reason would be given not to allow a change to their master plan as was just done with Hills Quarter? So please, when this comes up in front of you next month, please don't change the setbacks that are currently in place. Please continue case by case and not give blanket changes that will affect us forever. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I've got to respond to a couple of things. Mr. Costello talked about 3 board members being at the Norris Bridge meeting on Tuesday night. The three board members were there, but they weren't sitting together, so they weren't conducting business as a group. So regarding the Dominion proposal for a solar facility and a battery storage facility, which is scheduled for public hearing at the January 30th Board of Supervisors meeting, Dominion came 1 year ago to this month in December last year and made a presentation to the public. And those documents will be on the website when the public hearing information is available and has been created. Regarding the options that the Planning Commission is considering for the waterfront residential overlay, the Planning Commission's motion was to send option 3 to public hearing. They didn't make a motion to send all the options to public hearing. It's to send option 3. All the other options were discussed at prior meetings, and they decided to send option 3 to public hearing. Regarding Ms. Bennett's statement about reducing setbacks in the waterfront residential overlay, the Planning Commission is not proposing to reduce setbacks in the waterfront residential overlay. They are proposing to reduce the area that is subject to the W1. Not reduce the setbacks, reduce the area inland that is subject to the W1. And your statement about the acreage going from 2 acres to 1 acre is not correct, because the underlying zoning would dictate the minimum lot size in the areas that would be coming out of the W1 should the board approve that. For instance, A2 properties would have 3/4 of an acre minimum lot size. R1 properties would have 0.69 acre of a minimum lot size, which is more than a ½ an acre. So just had to make those corrections, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you, sir. Anyone else for public comment? Anyone online?
We need more information.
No, the information was given at the meeting.
Sorry.
Sorry.
Okay. If no one else wants to speak for the public comment session, we now close this session. All right. Anybody from going to represent VDOT? Yes, sir. I didn't recognize. Okay.
Good evening. David Bill wasn't able to make it tonight, so he'd asked me to come in his place. My name is Jamie Horn. I'm the Maintenance Operations Manager for the Northern Neck Residency. And he asked me just to discuss a few items that the area has completed and have for upcoming. One, they did some brush cutting on DMB Drive and Technology Park Road, patched potholes throughout the county, repaired signs throughout the county, and addressed many work orders that they received countywide. Upcoming, the area headquarters is looking to do some brush removal on Pierce's Road and as well in Whitestone. They're going to do some pothole patching countywide to stay on top of that. They're planning to do some drainage improvement on Fleets Bay Road, some sign repairs countywide. You have to stay up on top of the signs. It seems like they're constantly getting knocked down or dirty or something, and address work orders countywide. I think Mr. Lee did have a question about
Greentown Road. I think David did send you an email today.
And they called me also.
Okay, good. So he addressed all your concerns. All right, great. That's all I have, unless y'all have any questions for me.
Do you have any questions, gentlemen? Comments? Thank you, sir.
All right, thank y'all. Have a good
All
evening.
right, all right, presentations, school construction, Mr. Pittman, Mrs. Davis.
Good evening. I got some slides. I've had a couple good weeks of construction, and this is the 2-week look ahead that we get every time. And what I've done this time is try to get a picture of each one of these little items that they have, kind of identify each thing that's on here. You know, it's a little tough to look at this and see what's going on the site, but hopefully you can follow me as we go through this. This picture was taken a month ago. I always like to give the updated photos. You can see where we were a month ago and where we are. This was last week. Unfortunately, the weather hadn't been cooperative for flying drones this week, so we stuck with last week's pictures. And you can see the progress that's been made. The stairwell 1 on the left-hand side of the picture, they're finishing that up. And the steel has started. We're actually all the way on the back side of the building now, what they call areas C and D. This slide shows what the total steel package will look like when they're done with the building. The areas above the auditorium and the gym kind of opened up on us just to give a clearer picture of what's happening. Go to the next slide. This is just another perspective of where we are last week. You can see where they poured some of the concrete for around the auditorium. They've got another pour scheduled for tomorrow morning. So most of the concrete in the auditorium area will be finished up this week. This is just a picture taken from the, ground level there, looking at the steel. It's one thing to get these drone photos and things. It's another thing to stand there beside this thing and see how big it is, and it's going to be a big building. Again, just another shot of the crane putting the steel in. This is one of the line items on the 2-week look ahead about the water pipes. They've actually started burying some of this this week, and you can see it's kind of hard to make out, but the fire hydrants are back behind that in a pile. Get to the next slide. So this is the visitor side of the athletic field. And I wanted to get this picture just to show you how it is tight up against that tree line, and we're looking into some options with what to do with the visitor bleachers. The existing visiting bleachers that are at the high school now could stay at the high school to use on that field. Mr. Lee and I have talked about that. So we're looking at some options on what to do up against that tight tree line. Some inside pictures of the pour of the concrete inside the auditorium. You can see the curve of the front of the stage and the slope. And again, a lot of this concrete will be poured tomorrow. Just a close in of the guys. This got the guys' attention up that were working on the thing. They spotted me on this one. But it just shows how they're finishing up that work on Tower 1. This is the underslab rough end. I believe this is in the locker room area of the school, and just shows what goes in, all the work that's happening before they pour the concrete on the floor. It's another box. This is in the aux gym. This will be used for hooking into the scoreboards and audio in the gym. But there's a lot of calculations and stuff to go into the locations of these things, so it's important to have them documented. This is a mechanical room. Just shows how everything's getting roughed in that area. They've been busy. It's one thing to look at the ground, but there's a lot of stuff buried underneath that ground, even at this point. So I took this picture to show. It's kind of hard to make out. They don't show up real well in this, but you can see the 12 holes that are in that. There's actually 24 holes. There's another set of 12 underneath that, and those are the supply and return holes for the geothermal. And they'll be hooking that into the mechanical room very soon. This is the athletic field. They're basically done with the stone and on the field portion at this point. I believe in the next few weeks, you'll see the field goal posts go up as long as the athletic lights. This just shows some of the curbing for the drainage that they've got in. It's going to be a fantastic thing. I mean, it could rain all day and that field will be playable. These are just the athletic lighting poles. We'll have LED lights on the field, and they'll be setting those, I believe, next week. Any questions?
Any questions, gentlemen? Okay. Thank you, sir.
Good evening. It's nice to be here to brag on our school division a little bit. Seeing those pictures is so neat because you can picture kids actually walking through there, traveling on advanced pathways and to new different types of courses. So our first semester is about to end this year. Next week is the last day of first semester. It's the first year that we're ending first semester before Christmas break. So we bumped that calendar back and we started a little earlier in August. We also changed our high school schedule this year to, it's a modified schedule now. Instead of just all 4 blocks, it also has 8 periods in the day for full year classes and the 4 block per semester. So that's allowed a lot more opportunity for our kids, and it's also helped with attention spans and staying engaged in class. So we've been really happy with that change that's happened at our high school this year. We have so many things to be proud of in our county, in our school division. So I could share out 100 of them right now. I had to pick a few to kind of just update you as to where our schools are and what's going on. So we've been really being very intentional about building leadership skills in our kids and matching different programs to students. So not just touching on the academic piece, but trying to have every kid match up with some other purpose or passion in school. And along with that, we've increased our band dramatically. We're still trying to build that Red Devil band back up. We lost a lot of it over COVID. Our JROTC is up to over 70 kids. We included the 8th graders in the opportunity for the JROTC program this year, and a lot of our 8th graders took advantage of that. We have more females in that program than males right now, which is kind of interesting and kind of cool. We've started up a chorus, so we have over 70 kids in our chorus program right now as well. They sound awesome, and we have over 45 kids on our football team. We had this year over 45 kids on our football team. So some of the new programs that have been implemented over the past 2 years within our school systems are the chorus. It's not only an extracurricular piece, but we added it as a course for our 6th and 7th graders as well. We implemented the esports program, Scholastic Bowl, a full-time STEAM class for all of our 1st through 5th graders. They're all going into that makerspace at the elementary school and doing a lot of project-based learning. And they're actually, it's so cool in there. They have built an entire community, like physically built it out. In 1 grade level is in charge of the crisis management plan. They're studying weather in their SOLs, so they're developing plans for if there's a hurricane or if there's a tornado. And another one is actually putting electricity and lights in the whole town, because that coordinates with their science SOLs. It's really neat. It's a really amazing opportunity for our kids. We implemented the Teachers for Tomorrow program. This year we started part 1 and part 2 of that as well. Last year we had part 1, and we provided another course through RCC, it's actually a full program of the welding program for some of our kids, and we have 3 kids in that who are loving it. Our discipline is on a positive swing. It's not going to be corrected overnight, but lots of less discipline issues in the school, and that comes with hiring good people. It comes with engaging activities. It comes with a lot of different pieces, but changing that culture, particularly in the high school. So we're really pleased with what we're seeing at the high school. Discipline referrals actually have been cut in half. And I don't really like to use discipline numbers because it's really not about those paper referrals, but it is a number that we can share out and to kind of give a sense of what it is. Working on building that pride back up. You have some of the signs outside here too, but we're selling them around town, the Red Devil Pride signs, so our kids can see them and know that they're supported by not just people in their school or their homes, but everywhere. So we're really happy to see those out. Working hard on our strategic plan, which matches up with our county strategic plan. Big focuses in there are post-secondary planning. We're doing a lot of work behind the scenes right now so that when we get into that new building, there are a lot of different pathways and different opportunities for kids. Renewing our crisis safety management plan this year and updating. And I am super proud to share with you, it's the last thing I'll share. Like I said, I could go on and on, but our division, our school division, was ranked number 10 in the state of Virginia this year for overall gains in our SOL tests. And we are super proud of that. Took a lot of hard work and doesn't just happen. And our high school was rated number 13, was ranked number 13 in the state for overall performance this year on SOL. So something to be proud of. We have a lot to be proud of, but sometimes you need that number to put with it to tell everybody. So we actually, our high school eliminated 4 out of the 5 educational academic gaps that it still had left. It eliminated that, closed the gap for in English for our Black students, our students with disabilities, and our economically disadvantaged students. Also closed the gap for our Black students and our economically disadvantaged in math. So proud of that too. Proud of our kids and our staff. So something for all of us to be proud of. Any questions about anything in our school division that I can answer?
Any questions or statements, gentlemen? I'd like to say thank you.
All right, well, thanks for
Continue the
letting
good
me
work.
share
Yes.
out.
Yes.
We got some good stuff, good kids, good people. Thank you.
All right. Okay, Mr. Bateman? John?
Yes, sir. Mr. Chairman, members of the board, I just wanted to provide an update on the county parks progress, beginning with updates on the Westland Beach at Windmill Point. Went out there today. Unfortunately, we were unable to get drone footage. As Travis said, the conditions over the last week or so have not been great or conducive for getting drone footage. So this image here shows the pier supports and decking being constructed. Another view of the guys out there putting in that decking. I know you received an update about 3 weeks ago, and there's been quite a bit of progress just in that 3 weeks. Here's a close-up of the piers and the support members that are made of fiberglass and the decking on top of it. They've had to do some excavation around the piers, pier pilings, excuse me, in order to do some of that work. Here's a view of Breakwater D and showing some good sand accretion. You can see that nice tombolo shape forming, which is what this project was intended to do. Here's a really good view of Breakwater G and how that sand's starting to pile up and mound up at the center of that breakwater. Here's another view of that from the other angle. So these breakwaters are really already starting to do their jobs. And this is just a view from the marina. Really took this just because it was a pretty picture. It was a really pretty day out there today. But those breakwaters look excellent, and they're starting to do their jobs already. Remaining to be completed in phase 1 is completing the fishing pier with the ramp and decking and railing, channel markers, channel dredging, dredge material preparation after that, and then using that material in beach nourishment, and then establishing the dune. There was some conversation at the meeting this month about plant species and those species that will be used for dune restoration to hold the dunes together. Phase 2 update, architecture is 90% complete. PM&E is somewhere between 30 and 60% complete. There was some delay. DEQ has been delayed in submitting comments, but that's not going to stop us from going out to bid on January the 9th. So we're right on schedule with that project. There's been some good progress on Taylor Creek Park and Carter Cove Parks. Architecture with Taylor Creek is 60% complete for the restroom and pavilion. Draft plans are completed for shoreline, pier, boardwalk, and structures. And there's a goal of about 6 weeks for submission, before submittal to DEQ. With Carter Cove Park, architecture and engineering is 30% complete. They're waiting for some guidance regarding changes to the proposed changes at the Oyster Heritage Learning Center, and there's an advisory committee that's going to provide that guidance. Again, a goal of 6 weeks to get this submitted to DEQ. With help from Friends of the Rappahannock and the Rappahannock Roundtable, the county was awarded $9,200 from the Chesapeake Bay Trust Oyster Innovation Fund. That's to construct an oyster spat on shell tank at the Oyster Heritage Center. And we're still awaiting word of a potential award for up to $10,000 from the Chesapeake Bay Restoration Fund. That's through the Virginia State Legislature. We won't know that until April. Triway Trail update, current construction focus, again, is on the completion of Phase 1A, the Harris Road Connector. The Triway Trail Board is scheduled to meet on the 17th to approve the last little bit of work that will complete Phase 1A, reducing some slopes that we had at the end of Phase 1A connecting to Phase 1B. The current planning focus is on developing a budget and scope for Phase 1B. That would be Hills Quarter to Compass, and the goal is to make Phase 1 go all the way to Compass so that we have that connection. And that's utilizing funds that Senator Warner procured for us. We're awaiting response from VDOT on the Ready, Set, Go grant, the application that we submitted. We'll be discussing that at the December 17th meeting as well. And then we're already working on acquisition of land to develop Phase 2 that would bring the trail from Kilmarnock to the Harris Road Connector in Phase 1A. So a lot of work yet to be done, but there has been some good progress. Is there any questions?
Do you have any projected timeline for Phase 1 completion, completely from Harris Road to Compass?
Well, in our initial meetings with VDOT, they take a long time frame approach. I mean, they were saying in the order of years to utilize these funds. I think there's a lot that we can do as a board to try to expedite that. But we've encouraged the Triway Trail Board to view this project more as a multimodal trail than a recreational trail, which would be a paved surfaces that would take all manner of pedestrians, bikes, non-motorized vehicles, and these kind of projects take a long time. A similar project in Harrisonburg had a project timeline of around 10 years. So there's a lot of planning to do, especially if we're going to be using funds that come down through VDOT. There's a lot of environmental review and engineering work that has to be done. So
maybe you should get their administration behind it. They have a big checkbook, it seems, for their projects.
Yeah. But anything else? That's
Any
it.
additional questions? Comments? Great. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
All right. Now we're getting ready to go to the public hearing. Ms. Olivia, Ms. Hall.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We have for you this evening an application for special exception by Samuel A. Matthews Jr. and Karen F. Matthews of 373 Riverside Drive, Lancaster, Virginia, as required by Article 12-4-1 of the Lancaster County zoning ordinance to expand and enlarge an existing authorized non-conforming single-story garage. This parcel, described as tax map number 12-9, is zoned residential medium general district R3 and contains .310 acres. A second-story addition will be added onto the existing garage. The footprint of the garage will not increase, and the existing non-conforming setback of 2 feet on the east side will be maintained. The residential structure on this parcel existed prior to the effective date of the Lancaster County zoning ordinance, which is 6/1/1975, and therefore is an authorized nonconforming structure. Article 12-4-1 allows for the expansion and enlargement of existing nonconforming structures with a special exception if the setbacks of that zoning district can be met. The applicant wishes to construct the addition of a second story on the existing garage. The footprint of the garage will not increase and will not encroach further into that 2-foot east side yard. So no variance is required from the BZA for this project. The sole reason for the special exception request is for the authorization of the enlargement of the nonconforming structure through the construction of the second-story addition. This addition will not add a bedroom, therefore no modification will be required by the health department to alter or expand the septic system. Adjoining property owners have been notified and advertising conducted as required by law. Both adjoining property owners have provided letters of support for this request. These letters of support were included in your packet. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
Is the applicant here before I open up the floor for comment? Yes, sir, come up. If you want to make a statement, come up.
Good evening. My name is Samuel Matthews. We presently live in Hanover, Virginia, and we recently purchased a house in Maratico, or Maratico, whichever way it's spelled and pronounced. We're looking at eventually moving full-time here. We're in a position right now where we're almost empty nesters, and all of our kids will be off our payroll. And so we want to make Maratico our home. We looked long and hard, and I think we found a gemstone of a place to be. One of the dilemmas, the house is not a huge home, but we need an office space that we can actually work from. So we can work remote and we can work from our office. So we are a custom millwork manufacturer, and we specialize in building interiors in airports. So we work at Dulles and Reagan, so we work very odd hours. So we're coming in at very weird times to get stuff done. So I just need a place that I can have my teams meetings and my calls and stuff. And I think having an office above the garage is what my intent is to have, and not interfere with the home. And that's it in a nutshell.
All right. Do any of you all have any questions you want to ask me? All right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
At this particular time, we're getting ready to open up the floor for comments during this public hearing. And again, you have 3 minutes to say what you have to say, get right to the point. And at the end of 2 minutes, I will hold this up, letting you know you have 1 minute left. So the floor is now open for comments. Anyone? Anyone online? Floor now closed. I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that we accept this proposal as presented for approval for this special exception.
All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All opposed, nay. Motion passes 4-0. One member not present. Okay. All right, next, consensus docket.
Move for approval.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. All right, the minutes. Let's see, the consideration docket, salaries and invoices.
I move that we approve the November 2024 invoices for $2,553,582.13, of which payroll was $460,649.08, for a total of $3,014,231.21. Capital improvements for $1,972,428.08, and ARPA funding of $109.16.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. All right. Application with special exception, Mr. Gill.
Mr. Chairman, this is an application to co-locate T-Mobile antennas on an existing tower in Whitestone located on the Hubbard property. I'd like to thank Ms. Hall for putting all of that documentation together for the packet. This is probably the only special exception that I'm aware of that does not require a public hearing. This is to co-locate on an existing tower with no increase in overall height of the tower. And as you can tell from the packet, a structural analysis has been done ensuring that the tower would support the additional antennas. This tower already has Verizon and AT&T on it. All of the application fee and documents have been presented, and the staff would ask that you would approve this tonight.
All right. Any questions, gentlemen?
Are these, Don, are these the first T-Mobile or in the county or?
No, we have T-Mobile on the tower on Good Luck Road.
Okay, thank you.
I move that we approve this special exception.
You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. All right, Mr. Gill.
Mr. Chairman, the second special exception is for the tower on the James B. Jones Memorial Highway bypass around Kilmarnock in the Black Stump area. That tower is existing and has Verizon and Sprint on it now. The approval of this special exception would add T-Mobile antennas to it as well. Same as your first public hearing, a structural analysis has been done, ensuring that it will support the additional antennas. All of the documentation has been provided, the fee's been paid, and we would ask that you would approve this special exception as well.
All right, gentlemen, unless you have some questions, I entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that this special exception be approved.
All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. And opposed, nay. Motion's passed. All right, again, Mr. Gill.
Mr. Chairman, your fourth consideration item is the consideration of awarding the bid for the expansion of the Kilmarnock Convenience Center refuge site. On October 17th, an invitation to bid was issued requesting bids from qualified firms for the construction of an expansion of the Kilmarnock Convenience Center refuge site, which will basically double the size of that area. It will add recyclable buildings, which were not a part of this bid. The buildings will come later, but this is for all of the site work, the pavement. It will create a new entrance to the Kilmarnock Refuge Center site, a new traffic pattern through there, and you would exit through the current entrance to the center. Bids were due back on November 22nd. We had, I think, 8 contractors who came to the pre-bid conference. We ended up with 5 bids, and we have Ben Burton here tonight from Bay Design Group, who prepared a bid tabulation form that's included in your package, showing that the lowest responsible bidder was J.C. Franklin Incorporated. So the ask tonight is that you award the bid in the amount of $424,314.86 to J.C. Franklin Incorporated, and authorize me to execute the documents required to facilitate that construction. And if you have any questions, I think Mr. Burton is prepared to answer them.
Gentlemen, you have any questions?
Just what is the time frame for completion of the project?
It's a 180-day from whenever the contract is signed,
For this
completed.
phase of the contract?
It's a 180-day completion from whenever the contract
You
is
said
signed.
this is just for the site work?
This is the site work, the paving, the entrance creation, the new traffic flow through
Many
it.
buildings will be in a phase 2?
We would, yeah, it would be a phase 2. It's not part of this project, but, I mean, it's steel buildings. We would simply just, get 3 bids probably and go from there.
So really, this part of it should alleviate some of the traffic problems that we have down there.
It may, because we intend on adding a third compactor as soon as this
Yeah.
work is done. And so that would, help the crowd that gathers there, I think. But as far as the new buildings will be for recyclables.
Yeah. That's why I'm saying
Well,
this.
the other question too, right now, traffic gets backed up as the other dumpsters get used, or people are dumping metal, or will those have dedicated lanes for people to pull through, so they're not blocking the folks who are accessing
Yes, with the new,
compactors?
yes, Mr. Bellows, with the new entrance, you'll be coming in on the, let's say, the west side of the project and leading out, as Don said, through the existing entrance, so it'll be a big circle loop, so it will not encourage people trying to block going opposite ways at each of the dumpster paths. The other thing that this does create, this new expansion does create, is the building pads for the other buildings. Not only we can do the pavement, but we'll have compacted building pads so that as the county chooses to have the buildings prepared and installed, it will just be a matter of getting the building permit and doing the detailed design of that.
I've assumed they've done the proper, like, soil testing there, because wasn't there some issue with some sinkage on the parking lot due to landfill? Or
Yes, there was.
I guess the other question, on the third compact, the cost of that, and if that's gonna be, is that gonna be a capital improvement thing, or?
No, that is part of the contract that we have with Waste Management. So they will install that, and then, our fee to them is based on tonnage.
Okay, so, I guess at the end of 180 days, we get all this finished, Waste Management.
Well, that's the goal. Now, how quickly they will install that, I can't answer that.
Yeah.
But, and Donald Brown is, he's on vacation this week, but he's already made those contacts and, let them know that this is happening, and, when it's completed, we'd like to have that third compactor installed as quickly as
It would be
possible.
nice if you got two of them up running, at least two of them up running at the same time. You got three there,
Yeah.
two of them, because right now, you only got one.
That's right, yeah.
Two there, but you only got one
Yeah.
that you're using.
Mr. Chairman, how long,
Yes.
how long do you expect the facility closed?
It will not be
It will not be
closed.
closed.
The contractor is obligated to keep it open during all the construction. And the traffic management control to do that is included in the bid.
Any additional questions?
Don, did I understand, I was a little confused. Does the 180 include the buildings going up, or they will be later?
No, this bid does not include erecting the buildings.
Okay.
This
so
is,
that'll be beyond the 180.
yeah. This bid is for clearing the land, site work, pavement, and the pad preparation for the metal buildings.
Gotcha. Thank
At the end of the 180 days, pads will be ready to do buildings.
And then there'll be a separate contract on that. Okay.
So,
thanks.
I think the big takeaway is that at the end of 180 days, we should have a different traffic pattern. And
Complete. Yes, sir.
more space down there
Yes.
for people to get around.
Yes.
Yeah.
Move to a coffee place.
Any additional?
Well, that's one of the questions. Right now, the utilities are part of the problem of being in the way. Are those going to be underground, moved underground? Because right now, like one of the utility poles is basically right in the middle of the parking lot.
Yeah, is that part of
Now,
it?
what was that?
The utilities?
Utilities.
Oh, yeah. No, we are not changing any of the utility services. Will be overhead. If it changes in the future, it can be made underground, but this project doesn't include that.
Maybe it's something to consider as an add-on. 'Cause right now-
Again, that would be the
That
detail
pole
that
is-
would be taken care of as each of the buildings is designed, where the electricity needs to go into it.
Because currently that like pole that sits in the middle of the parking lot, to me, is part of the traffic problem
Yeah,
in there.
it's got the
Because you've now
jury,
got concrete barriers
Yeah.
around it, so someone doesn't knock it down,
yeah.
and it's even bigger, so.
Well, we could consider that maybe as a change order,
Yeah.
potentially,
Yes,
to put the service underground to it.
Everybody in agreement with that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
do I have to buy another dog tag? Do I have to buy another dog tag?
John, is that good, or you need a vote?
Yeah, I mean, it sounds like the board would prefer to have it underground,
Right.
is what I'm hearing.
Yes.
So
Yeah.
we'll, once we get the contract in place, we'll work on a change order to that effect.
I feel like, let's vote on that.
I move that we request that the utilities be placed underground at the Camarda Convenience Center.
All right, you've heard that motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passed. All right. And that's in the records. Official done. All right.
They've not voted on the rest of the contract.
Yeah, you need to make a motion to award the bid in that amount.
Well, yeah, I'll clarify the motion. Because I just added on to his motion.
I make a motion that we award the bid in the amount of $24,000, $314.86 to J.C. Franklin, and we authorize the county administrator to execute the document.
All right, you've heard that motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Motion passed. All right, good. All right, thank you, sir. All right. Mr. Gill, ARPA.
Mr. Chairman, your last consideration item is a request to obligate the final funds of the ARPA allocation that the county got to the P25 Emergency Communications Radio Project to meet the December 31st deadline of this year. All ARPA funds must be obligated or expended by December 31st of this year. We received a total of $2,059,508 in ARPA funds based on prior board-approved expenditures. You've approved $503,756 in broadband grant match payments, $336,000 in the Triway Trail Phase 1A construction, $233,600 in the Town of Whitestone sewer contributions, $83,576 in volunteer rescue and fire and other public safety contributions, and $62,057 in meeting room enhancements. Total expended to date is $1,218,989.62. That leaves a total of $840,518.38, which has not been obligated or expended. So the request is to obligate those funds to that P25 Emergency Communications Radio Project that has been approved in the county capital improvement budget. That project has been going on now for about 2 years. It has expenditures just in FY25 to date of just over $1 million. So there is expenditures there that can utilize all of the remaining ARPA funds. The P25 radio project has been funded previously out of the lease revenue bond that the county took out in October of '22 through the Economic Development Authority and Truist Bank. So by obligating the rest of the ARPA funds to the P25 radio project, it'll free up an equal amount of money in that lease revenue bond for other non-school related capital improvement items such as your county park projects that you heard about tonight.
Gentlemen, y'all have any other questions or statements there?
I have a brief question, not really regarding this, but regarding the schools portion of their funds.
Okay.
Have they obligated and expended all of their funds? Because I know most of their funds have to be locally funded and then backfilled through applying for reimbursements from the state. So we need to make sure that they've done all theirs and done it properly, so that money, make sure we've done all the reimbursements before the deadlines.
I don't.
Well, I should have asked Jessica when she was here, but.
Yeah, I don't know the answer to that, but we will find that out and make sure that that's done.
Yeah, reimbursements and obligations.
Because they got their money a little differently than ours.
Yeah.
Theirs was sitting in the bank where they had to spend their money and then request it back from the state. So if they didn't get all the reimbursements done, they might not get them.
Yeah.
All right. If there are no further questions or comments, I move that we obligate the remaining ARPA funds of $840,518.38 previously approved P25 Emergency Radio Communication Project that is included in the county's capital improvement budget. You've heard the motion. All in favor say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Ayes have it. All right, board reports. Have any board reports?
I have an appointment I'd like to make.
Okay.
I'd like to make an appointment to my vacant Historic Resources Commission, and I'd like to appoint Darrell Longus to fill that position.
All right, you've heard that appointment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, Darrell Longus appointed.
I'd like to make an appointment too.
Okay.
In District 1, I'd like to reappoint William H. Clark Jr. to the Building Code Appeals Board.
All right, you've heard that appointment. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes.
Mr. Chairman, I got 2 appointments, both of them to CBRAC.
Okay.
I'd like to reappoint Paul Shakatana to another term. The term is 3 years.
All right.
And I would like to appoint Joni Carter to a 3-year term.
Okay, you've heard that. Those appointments, all in favor say aye. Aye. Okay, motion passed, the appointed. All right.
Is there any, I see there's 2 at-large positions on the,
Yeah.
broadband. Are those open, or are those people wanting to be reappointed?
They are open. The Broadband Authority attempted to have a meeting at 5 today, but they could only get 2 members here, so they could not get a quorum. Mr. Geezy was here with me. Yes, both Ms. Wozniak and Mrs. Kaiser have decided that they do not wish to be reappointed. So they intend to make recommendations of some replacements. They just don't have those recommendations ready tonight.
So does the authority currently have enough members to even hold a meeting?
They do have 3. It's a 5-member board, so the 2 whose terms expire at the end of this month will be coming off. They will have 3. And the vice chairman, Keith Kidd, said tonight that they were going to try to meet again in January, so that,
It's been some time since we've had an update on where any of these projects currently land.
yeah.
I got all points today.
I guess that's an update.
I believe, I stand to be corrected, but I believe the Broadband Authority members hold over until their successor.
Until their successor comes on.
I think we're gonna have to form a GoFundMe to get Starlink for Mr. Kaiser.
They did say today that they intend to advertise in the record for that position. So if you know of anybody, please get it to the Broadband Authority or myself or Don.
Because has anybody heard any updates on where those like outliners that are kind of lingering out there lie at this point?
The APB project has submitted their final grant paperwork, and as Keith Kidd said in an email to me this week, it would probably be a quiet quarter, meaning the first quarter of calendar year '25, before they went out and picked up folks who were close to their service area but were not included in the grant. And they intend to pick those folks up. It makes sense, from a business standpoint. So that would be in a March, probably timeframe of '25. And also, he said tonight that we should know some more about the BEAD funding in March as well. But his main takeaway was, or that I got, was that for folks who are, somehow fell through the cracks of this before BEAD can pick you up, or before APB or BreezeLine can pick you up on their own, Starlink is a very good option, because he was saying tonight that the speeds are very good, the latency is not bad, and that he believes that the Starlink is going to be able to lower their satellites, and which will make the latency even better. So he says that's a viable alternative, until the BEAD and if APB and BreezeLine can pick up those folks who are very close to their service areas that were included in the grant. So that's.
Have everything been submitted for BEAD? Because I know there's some questions I had after leaving VACO, whether we have done everything that we need to do.
It's my impression that we have.
Yeah, that's what I've been told too, as far as that. So, did they say March?
Yeah, March of '25. Yeah, that's when we would know, if the BEAD funding is coming.
Yeah.
But that's not installation. That's knowing if the money's going to be there, and then it would take several months, maybe even a year.
They were saying 2026 probably.
Yeah.
Well,
before
so
that would be.
that's the impression I got
Yeah.
from VACO would be sometime in 2026.
Yeah.
But I was just questioning, I really had a question on whether everything had been done
Yeah, that's it.
for the funding.
It's my impression, based on listening to Cherie and Keith, that it has been.
And that's just to pick up those additional missed ones?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes. Now, I know we've got a busy agenda in January. Do you want me to see if Keith would give us a report?
I'm sure he would. Yeah, we can
Would that
get.
help you all?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
Okay.
one thing I say about Starlink, and Mike can ask you, there used to be a waiting list. I mean, you apply today, it was months before they actually sent you the equipment, because you got to hook your own equipment up.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They mail it to you and you hook it up, but it was like months. So I don't know if that still stands that way or not.
I don't know the
I
answer to
don't know
that
that
either.
either.
I know that's how it was, but
Yeah.
I know somebody that got it. They happy with it, it works good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
County Administrator report?
I've probably done enough talking tonight, so.
All right.
You ready for me?
Yes.
I move that the Board of Supervisors enter into a closed meeting for personnel per section 2.23711A1 of the Code of Virginia. Two, acquisition and disposition of real property per section 2.23711A3 of the Code of Virginia, and 3, legal matters per section 2.23711A of the A8 of the Code of Virginia.
All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, nay? All right, we're in closed session.
The board will be back to make elections.
Yeah, you're going to come out of closed
Bill to the broadband, all the committees. We'll appoint Bill to all the committees.
You get it for not being here.
That'll teach him.
I call this meeting back to order. I move that the Langston County Board of Supervisors adopt the following certification resolution. Whereas the Lancaster County Board of Supervisors convened in a closed meeting on December the 12th, 2024, pursuant to an affirmative recorded vote on the motion to close the meeting to discuss personnel, legal matters, and acquisition, disposition of real property in accordance with section paragraph 2.2-3711.A.1 and 2.2-3711.A.8 and 2.2-3711.A.3 of the Virginia Freedom of Information Act. And whereas section paragraph 2.2-3712D of the Virginia Code requires a certification by the Board of Supervisors that such closed meeting was conducted in conformity with Virginia law. Now, therefore be it resolved that the Lancaster County Board of Supervisors hereby certifies that to the best of each member's knowledge, one, only public business matters lawfully exempted from open meetings requirements under the Virginia Freedom of Information Act were heard, discussed, or considered in a closed meeting to which this certification applies. And two, only such public business matters as were identified in the motion by which the closed meeting was convened were heard, discussed, or considered in the meeting in which this certification applies. Before a vote is taken on this resolution, is there any member who believes that there was a departure from the requirement of number 1 and 2 above? If so, identify yourself and state the substance of the matter and why, in your judgment, it was a departure. Hearing no statement, I call the question. Mr. Bellows?
I certify.
Mr. Lee?
I certify.
Mr. Giese?
I certify.
And Palin, I certify. This certification resolution is adopted. All right, now, we will adjourn this meeting and move into our reorganization meeting. All right?
You want me to take it?
Meeting adjourned.
All right, Mr. Chairman, I will call the 2025 organizational meeting of the Board of Supervisors to order. The first order of business is the election of chairman for 2025. So the floor is open for nominations for chairman.
I would like to nominate Mr. Palin. He's got running a well-oiled machine here, so might as well keep it oiled.
Thank you, sir.
All right, we have a nominate. Any other nominations? All right, motion has been made for Mr. Palin to be the 2025 chairman of the board. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All right, congratulations, Mr. Chairman, and the meeting is back to you.
Okay, well, thank you, gentlemen, for your trust in me to take off this, all right? All right, at this particular time, I'd like to nominate Mr. Bellows as the chair, or vice chair. All right, all in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
First of all, any further nominations? All right, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Okay, good. All right, so, I can't find my paper. Now, it's committees, right?
Well, no, the next item of business is your meeting dates for 2025, and you have the schedule in your packet. As usual, it's the last Thursday of every month at 7 p.m., except for November and December due to the holidays. The November meeting would be the Thursday before Thanksgiving, November 20th at 7 p.m., and the December meeting would be the second Thursday in December at 7 p.m., as you've done in the past.
Okay, good. All right. Any questions? All right, you've heard of that. All right, so all in favor of this? Say aye.
Aye.
All right, so that's passed. All right, now we have appointments. And gentlemen, I'd recommend that we do the same thing as we did last year. Just everybody stay in a lot, in their spot, unless you've got a different proposal. Okay, if that's the proposal, then I move that we will approve the same people for the same positions. As far as the Planning Commission, the Planning District Commission, Social Services Board, Emergency Service Director, Historic Resource Commission, VACO Representative, Legislative, Financial Steering Committee, Rappahannock River Basin Commission, Northern Net Chesapeake Bay Regional Partnership, Bay Consortium Workforce Development Board, and Broadband Authority. Well, yeah. Okay, all in favor of those, all those in favor of that, say aye.
Aye.
All right, so Motion passed. All right. Bylaws. Entertain a motion.
I move that the bylaws be adopted as presented.
You've heard that motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All right. Motion passed. Strategic plan, Mr. Gill.
Mr. Chairman, in your packet, you have the strategic plan that was adopted last year. That was the initial strategic plan that you all first adopted back in 2019. I also included the Lancaster 2035 strategic plan, and I believe from past board discussions, it has been the intention of the board that once that Lancaster 2035 plan had been adopted by the board, which it was this past January, that would probably replace the strategic plan that was adopted back in 2019. So, that's open for discussion, and if that is still the board's desire, then you should make a motion to that effect.
I mean, I think that was the board's desire. That initial plan was derived from the retreat that we had in Stratford Hall, which then was picked up by the item we had for CBRAC, which then we fully developed out the plan to the 2035, so they sort of like are redundant at this point.
Yeah, I'm in agreement with what Mr. Bella said.
I'm fine. Most of that was before I came on, so if y'all are okay with it, I'm fine.
Mr. Lee?
Yeah, oh, yeah.
I'm confused, is the motion,
I move that we,
the 2035 strategic plan
As
as
the board's strategic plan.
the board's strategic?
Yep.
I move that we adopt the 2035 as their strategic plan for going forward.
All right, you've heard the motion. All in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. All right, motion passed. All right. Okay, anything else, Mr. Gill?
No, sir, Mr. Chairman.
All right, I entertain a motion to close.
So moved.
All right, motion, and all in favor, say aye. Aye. All opposed, nay. Okay. All right.
Merry Christmas.
Amen.